gets back.
Yep.
I have to get where is he?
I'll talk to him. He's standing right there.
It-
But
it-
it's
I got
literally.
It's literally this, I mean, this
I
court
catch all that.
should be
The Cadillac in the parking lot is trunk open.
What is it? Burgundy. What was it? Trunk is open.
We're just gonna start in a minute. Councilman Patty's almost here. I call to order the Holly Town Council meeting on January 13th, 2026. Thank you all for being here. We're lucky to have Pastor Bobby Owens from the gathering. Pastor, you have the floor for your invocation.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Always appreciate the honor of coming and leading in prayer. So let's bow and give thanks. Our Father, tonight you gather, we do give you thanks for your grace, your mercy, your love for us. We thank you for the opportunity, God, that we have each day, because every day is a gift. So God, we are grateful for that as well. And I thank you for Holly Ridge and the community that it is. It's not a government, it's not a building, it's none of those things. It's people. And it's people in a community that have respect and love for one another. So God, my prayer would be that tonight as we gather, that we would show that love to one another. That God, we would direct our attention and our hearts to the betterment of each other. And so God, tonight as we meet, we thank you for this council. Pray for the wisdom. Pray God that you give them guidance. God, we lift up this community. Pray God that we would honor you in all things. And we thank you for it and for what it means as a part of this creation that you've given for us to enjoy. We thank you for it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Please stand up for the pledge. Just before we start that, I will recognize a couple of elected officials that are here as our guests. Ms.
Andy Plow. Andy, could you stand up, please? And Ms. Trudy Solomon. Thank you for being here. There are members.
City Council who have joined us tonight. Andy, congratulations on your new position. Okay, going to item 3, I would like to ask the council to vote on moving item 9C to 9A. If possible, but a lot of people here are interested in that as the first priority of new business. Could I have a motion?
I'll make a motion with not see.
Okay, so we are moving down to 9A. Any discussion? How do you vote?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, we are going to item 4A. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. Happy New Year. It's the first meeting of this year, and we appreciate your participation and involvement. This is going to be a great year for Holly Ridge. You have a lot to accomplish, and hopefully you'll make it a great place to live. Council provides an opportunity for the public to make comments, either at the beginning or at the end of the meeting. Any item that requires comment that council has control of. Please feel free to sign up. If you have not signed up, you will not be able to speak. So please feel free to sign up, and if you have not signed up and would like to speak, please see Margaret, our town clerk. All right, we're going to item 4B. I'd just like to make a statement before we open the floor. We welcome all those people who signed up to speak. Speakers will be acknowledged in the order which they signed up to speak. Groups of individuals seeking to speak on the same topic of concern would be encouraged to pick up an individual to speak to represent the group. The public comment period is designed for the council to hear from you on topics that board has control of. In order to maintain decorum, the following rules will be enforced. Citizens will address all comments to the board as a whole, not an individual on the council or the mayor. Each speaker or group representative will be limited to 3 minutes. At the end of 3 minutes, you should stop speaking. Discussion between citizens and the members of the audience are respectfully not allowed. Your questions, if any, may be addressed by the council at the end of the meeting when council makes comment. And I ask members of the public, please, do not engage in applause, hooting, hissing, or other loud exchanges. The rules are necessary to maintain decorum in this meeting and are based on the council adopted rules and procedures. So with that, we're gonna, we are going to eliminate, okay, town manager? Yeah, names?
Melissa Steadman.
I wasn't gonna do it now, I wanted to wait to the end. The second one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Taryn Carranza.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Taryn Carranza, and I live at 17 Katrina Street. I understand that tonight's item is not a final vote on annexation or the PUD, but a resolution of intent and the scheduling of a public hearing. That said, intent matters because it sets direction, shapes staff work, and signals to the public what questions have already been resolved and what have not. At the October meeting, I raised specific concerns and omissions in the CG environmental report for this upcoming development. Those included the Venrow site, an omitted Camp Davis landfill site, and an omitted Site 11 for PFAS, which was discovered at the airstrip. Since that time, I'm not aware of any written response to revised environmental analysis or supplemental documentation that addresses these omissions. I'm not here tonight to relitigate the entire project. I'm here to state clearly and respectfully that these concerns remain unresolved and unanswered. I also previously raised concerns regarding the close proximity of water well placement in both the omitted landfill, the omitted Site 111, PFAS site, and the Venrow site. To my knowledge, there's been no explanation provided to the public as to how these risks were evaluated or ruled out. Once annexed, the land and any environmental liability associated with it becomes the town's responsibility. Annexation is not neutral when known or suspected contamination issues have not been fully evaluated. So tonight I'm asking for 3 very specific things. First, that the council formally acknowledge that these environmental questions remain unresolved at this stage. Second, that any resolution of intent make clear that the annexation consideration is contingent upon full disclosure and evaluation of environmental concerns, including historical land use and nearby contamination sites or sources. And third, that before the February 19th public hearing, the public be provided with written responses or documentation addressing why these sites have been omitted or are of no concern to warrant further investigation, groundwater, or soil sampling. That will allow the February 9th hearing to be informed and meaningful rather than just procedural. I appreciate the council's time and your responsibility to protect both the public and the town from inheriting unknown risks. Thank you.
Thank you. And next.
That would be all, Mayor.
Okay.
No others signed up for the beginning of the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Item 4C, we are going to not covered because Joanna Peter Cafe is not here. We're going to recognize her for the support of town of Holly Ridge hometown Christmas event. So we'll do that at a later time. Okay, going to item 5, there are no public hearings for this meeting. Going to item 6, town manager, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. On January 30th coming up, we will have our first bingo here at the community center. It's the first one since we got our bingo license through the Parks and Recreation. We hope everyone can come out and join us. The Parks and Recreation Department is planning another senior trip for the spring coming up. I believe surveys were sent out. People that attended the last trip were polled as to what they would be interested in attending in the future. So be on the lookout for that. April 25th is our bee festival. The vendor applications will be coming out soon, hopefully by the end of next week. So be on the lookout for those as well. I'm happy to report to the mayor and town council that the board will be able to go through a demonstration and a review of the website at their January 22nd work session. The developers will be coming in to show the finished product as well as the capabilities of the new site and receive your feedback. So we are in the last step before launching. Margaret and I met with our IT vendor last week to go over our upcoming contract. Back when we entered into a contract, we signed a 4-year contract. So each annual renewal, we go and we look at ways to save money or expand on services. So we are currently working on identifying town staff members that have 2 computers. So someone may have a desktop and a laptop, or a desktop and a tablet for out in the field. We're looking to consolidate those devices and remove them off of our contract, which ultimately will be a cost saving. And then we're also looking at putting in the VoIP phone system, which will be an upgrade to what we currently have. So that's voice over internet phone system, meaning the employees can take calls through their computers, they can take their phones on the go. It's a much more robust phone system that has a lot more features. And then last week I met with Parks and Recreation to go over how we can involve committee members more. And so we're looking to revamp some of the procedures that come along with the committees. So we found that when committees have ideas, a lot of times the who, what, when, where, why isn't answered. So in order to get more buy-in, we're creating a form, and we'll ask the committee members to fill that out, tell us what you need and how you need it, how much you need. And I feel like we'll be able to get the committee members to feel more vested into projects, and especially how our committees are growing. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your hard work. All right, we're going, any questions for the comment? No? Okay, going to item 7, consent agenda. Any item can be removed for separate discussion at the next regular meeting. So may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Councilman Hines, second by Mayor Pro Tem Hall. Any discussions? How do you vote?
Yes.
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 Okay, consent agenda is approved. Thank you. Item 8, there are no old business to discuss for this meeting. Going to item 9, which is item 9A, which is a revised agenda. And I'm gonna read the item, possible approval of a resolution of intent for the voluntary satellite annexation request submitted by Holly Development Group LLC on our county parcel number 027-857, comma 001-971-0011-593, and Pender County parcel 4227-56 at 5933-0000, consisting of approximately 1,539 on 57 acres and fixing the date for a public hearing. First one from North Carolina General Statute. So the recommendation is to direct the town clerk to investigate the sufficiency of the document petition. If found to be sufficient, advertise a public hearing to be held during the special meeting scheduled for February 19th. So this vote is to do those two things, sufficiency of the document and call for a public hearing. So, may I have a motion to accept the recommendation?
Before you have a motion, I have a couple questions.
Uh-huh.
That's okay.
We're gonna have the discussion. Yeah, go
We're
ahead.
gonna have some more discussion.
What is it like? Okay, wait, now that you said,
Okay, so my first question is, what happened to the original resolution from August that we voted on? Does that need to be dissolved?
we followed up with having the document that's fully executed by the owner.
Town Attorney?
I think it would ultimately be up to the council, and the question I would have is whether this is a new annexation petition that we're investigating the sufficiency of, or if it is an amendment to the original one. My understanding is this is a new petition,
The new petition.
and for that reason, a new investigation into the sufficiency is appropriate.
All right, so what was, so obviously the applications from August were wrong. Can you tell me what was wrong with them? Because I never got an explanation of whether they were good or not good. So why were they wrong?
Absolutely. My understanding is that Wassa had not executed the petition, but rather Mr. Mike Rukowski, who had an option to purchase the property, had executed it. However, I will note that under applicable law, Mr. Rukowski's signature is my legal opinion that it was sufficient. However, in order to, after hearing the comments from the public regarding wanting Wassa support, as well as members of this body indicating that they would like to see Wassa support of the application, the CEO of Wassa did execute that petition in order to show that they are in support of the application.
So I'm gonna remind you that there were two applications actually. One of them had just the developer, and there's another application had the developer and the building representative. So you're telling me that both of those applications were wrong, correct?
So again, no, neither of them is wrong. So to look at the timeline of this project, Wassa owns the property. Joed has an option to purchase that was assigned to Holly Ridge Development Group, buying through various assignments of rights that are recorded in both Pender and Onslow County. And under applicable law, someone who has a right to purchase a property is a contract purchaser. They can petition for annexation, they can petition for special use permits or conditional or straight rezonings. And so for that reason, those parties did have a right, but since the public and the council indicated that they would like the owner as well to execute the petition to indicate that they supported the application as well, it's my understanding that that signature was pursued both by our Wassa representative on the board as well as Mayor Pete working with other members of staff.
So who's on this new application? Who are the signers?
It's gonna be the CEO of Wassa himself, and then I believe Mike Rukowski is the developer signed as well.
I do believe Royce Bennett is signed as a signer, correct?
Joe did sign as well. The town manager just let me know that Melissa Anderson on behalf of Joe signed as well. So all three parties who had any interest in the property have executed it.
Is Royce Bennett one of the signers?
Louis Bennett is the chairman of the board of Wassa.
Sure, but he's not the CEO. Was he made an assigned agent?
No, he is.
Not the CEO. I didn't see the CEO.
I'm not sure what the question is. The question is whether the chairman has the authority to sign.
Yes.
I'm gonna defer to Wassa's counsel about that, but if Wassa's counsel has determined that that's the appropriate signature to submit the application, then I would certainly defer to Mr. DeSelms. I can't speak to what authority a party on Wassa's board does or does not have, but part of investigating the sufficiency of the petition is having conversations with members such as Mr. DeSelms or the chairman of the board or the CEO to determine who has appropriate authority, and to the extent that we need to get satisfaction that they do have authority, I'm glad to reach out to the attorney and or the chairman to.
Yeah, I raise these questions because I'm trying to help you, Margaret. These are the kind of questions I hope.
Thank you, sir.
ask. And to my understanding, the owner of the property is the CEO unless there's an assigned agent. That assigned agent probably should be voted on by the Wassa board. Now, I'll ask Mr. Hines. Mr. Hines, did Wassa assign an agent and to act as, did they assign Royce Bennett as the agent and sign this document? Do you know?
Well, I can't tell you whether, I can't tell you for sure if they did or not, and that's, on loss of the board, he's talked to his board members, and board members in the past agreed, and they agree again to go ahead and do this.
Okay, so again, I bring this up because last time, this was a concern, it was my concern that the application were indeed wrong. That they were not signed by the proper owner, and I did think they had been signed by the law. This is why I bring it up again, so I think if it's going to be done, it needs to be done right. Again, town clerk, these are the kind of things I'd like you to look into, if you don't mind.
Thank you, sir.
And Councilman Patty, if I may, under applicable law, North Carolina General Statute, Section 160A does provide the mechanism for annexation, and it provides that any property that is owned by a public authority, such as a water and sewer authority, they actually do not have to sign an application for annexation, so long as they do not object to a petition. A petition can be considered by a local governing body, and so for that reason, it was a discussion between the town manager and I earlier that they do not have to in fact sign a petition at all. It's just a showing of good faith. So just want the board to be aware of that law.
Thank you. There's more, long way to go.
Okay, I have a motion to accept the recommendation for, Margaret to look at the sufficiency of the document and schedule a public hearing for February 19th. Motion by Representative Paul,
Second.
second by Councilor Marciano. Any discussion?
Why, yes, there is. So I'm gonna say this now, and I know we're voting on this resolution, and it's just to start the process. But the speaker is right, the intent is there. The fact that there's a town hall scheduled for 2/11 and a possible public hearing scheduled tells me that there could be sufficient evidence that this resolution and application are up to par, and that all that is going to happen. So I'm gonna run through my feelings on this annexation, so it's there. Then I'm gonna run through it again, during the February meeting, because I wanna make it clear, it's not controversy. It's just opinions and how people feel about this. People are genuinely concerned about this annexation. It's not political, it's about their lives. And I'm gonna tell you why they're concerned. Number one, there's no developmental impact study done whatsoever. I've seen the revenue numbers. The mayor has given me the revenue numbers, the potential taxes we could possibly get from this. I've never seen a developmental impact study, which means, what does this mean for the town of Holly Ridge? What does it mean for our costs? Yes, it's an estimation, I know that. But it's a start. We don't know. We don't know, and it should be done. Perhaps it should be done by the developer himself. Number two, this is gonna double the size of our town. Double in acreage. Okay, and part of this is in Pender County. That's a problem. Now you're dealing with Pender County schools, now you're dealing with a whole nother bureaucracy. I've not gotten any answers about that either. And during the town hall, I forget what month it was before the election, there was a conversation about a meeting, but nobody knew the guy's name. Who was there, who wasn't there, I don't know, I guess I can go talk to Pender County and see what this means. You know, part of Holly Ridge is in Pender County. That's a concern. This puts a strain on our services. You cannot deny this. That fire, EMS, roads, schools, etc., places a larger burden on the taxpayer. And up and down the coast, and all the research I have done everywhere, I've never seen it work out good for the taxpayer. Taxes end up going up. We have to pay for the ramifications of all this. And again, I want to reiterate, I'm not against growth. I'm against stupid growth. I'm for smart, sensible growth. And there's a way you do that. Developer can definitely start building if he wants to in the county. You definitely can. The county would give more money to the fire department, and despite what many of you may think, Holly Ridge Police do not have to respond. They can respond through mutual aid. If they want to. But our budget, our money will not go for that development. They can annex later. But there's a reason why the developer wants to annex right now. The county has bigger plot size. Holly Ridge has smaller plot size, look at Summer House. If we did Summer House or any other neighborhood in the county, the plot size would be even bigger. We'll put more houses in Holly Ridge. Good, it's a good reason for the developer, I get it. All right, but it's a concern. I don't buy the 10-year timeline. That's what keeps circulating around. All right, it's gonna take 10 years, don't worry, all right, we'll catch up. I don't think so. At the town hall, the developer said it could be 6 years, I heard plus toilets by 2027. Yeah, but that's just phase one. Telling you, if it's Ryan Home, Katie Thornton, the national builders, they're gonna build it much faster. And now we're stuck. Correct? We're stuck, roll up. Okay, I don't buy the 10-year timeline, and if you wanna go a step further, let's add a contingency. Fine, you're not allowed to build this many houses, or this percentage per year, we'll make it 10 years. Let's add that to our agreement, some kind of contingency. Let the timeline work with the community, not the other way around. There's commercial property on this, correct? On this parcel, this commercial property?
There is proposed.
There's a plan.
There's a plan, okay. Time and time again, there's a commercial plot, the residential plots, the residential units get built first. And then we don't see those commercial plots. Why don't we pull the permits at the same time? And make them, like Surf City, build the commercial plots at the same time? Because in Farmer Evolve, there's no grocery store, is there? In front of Brookhaven, when the gentleman in the front row waved the contract and said, there's an emergency center coming, Med-Ed. I said, great, let's approve 100 townhomes or whatever it was. I don't see the emergency center there. What I see are for sale signs. Was I duped? Where's the commercial properties? If they don't get there, what happens if they don't get there? Again, promises made, promises broken. How about we institute some proffers? Y'all know what proffers are? The developer cares about our community so much, why don't they take them some money for some schools, some roads? Give us some money for some park equipment. In good faith. I approached council with that months ago. Fell on deaf ears. Lots of options here. Prophet County Coast, like I said, just put the strain on the tax base. Put the strain on infrastructure, schools, roads, and in the end, you are going to have to pay for it. The revenue is not enough. There's no way it's going to be enough, especially with the types of housing we're going to be going in. Again, I'm in favor of smart, sensible development, not like this. And I don't buy the timelines, I don't buy these promises, because time and time again, they are always broken. I said my piece, and you probably know how I feel by now. I'm gonna say it again at the February. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, speak to one point, which that's important, the mayor pretend, or, excuse me, Councilman Patty. Apologize. I'm so used to calling you that. Councilman Patty brings up the point of contributing money to schools or roadway projects, parks, things of that nature. And that's an important point that a lot of citizens have raised. And so I want to make sure that all of you are aware, but that the public is aware as well of why we cannot ask for that. And the important reason is that under the United States and North Carolina constitutions, we are prohibited from requiring that any private property owner give any interest in their real estate or contribute money unless they are given what's called just compensation. And if we were to ask a developer without compensation to give us money for a school or parks, other than contributions that are directly related to their development, such as putting in roadway improvements like NCDOT requires, it's considered what's called an exaction. And it's governed by cases called Nolan and Dolan, and they have to be constitutionally limited in a very particular way. And so we cannot request that from the developer predominantly because the Constitution prohibits us from doing so. And so I just want to call that out for each of you as you're considering this, that there are limitations on what we can require. And that's why we're asking for that.
Can you ask them about road quality, a certain standard of road quality?
We can certainly mandate road quality standards. A lot of the roads that would be impacted are NCDOT roads, and they require them built to a particular standard. But we can require that internal drive lanes, drive aisles, sidewalks, things like that within the development are built to a particular standard. For example, in the town of Leland, they have heightened road requirements. They require that the compaction be greater than NCDOT, or they require wider sidewalks than NCDOT may require. And so we can certainly look at that. The other mechanism is through what is called a development agreement. So if a developer seeks a development agreement, then they can voluntarily give us land for a school or a park. For example, if any of you are familiar with River Lights in New Hanover County in the city of Wilmington, they donated land for a fire station as part of a development agreement. And so if you engage in one of those types of mechanisms, you can request land for schools, additional roadway improvements and things of that nature. But otherwise, you are constitutionally limited.
I appreciate your explanation. I look forward to talking to the lawyers I know, because if you, as you know, in the legal world, there's always a way. So we're gonna look at we're gonna look at, something that we can get legislative without actual agreements or anything like that. So appreciate it.
Mayor, we're only asking calls for public hearing, so I'm calling for a question.
Okay, comment, question?
Yeah, no, we have, all of us have to speak first before we can do public.
You can't even use that every time I speak.
Mayor, I do have one thing. Knowing the intent of the development, we at least ask for this impact assessment by a third party? Would we be opposed to that?
Maybe if I may, there was the impact study that was done, Mike Rukowski presented it, it was on our August packet, and when this came up last time, Mike Rukowski clearly stated that where they're developing is not tied to areas in question. So that study has been done by the developer. So
By the developer, but.
yes, by a third party, no, it was by engineering company. And it's, of course, it's in our records, if we go back 6 months,
I believe it was Segi.
Segi, that was it, so there was a part,
Party by the developer by the third party.
they hired her, yes, they hired, he's done it right, I know, I hate to say that it was not done right, you guys want that, but reality is, and we're going through this again for the public hearing, so Mr. Kowski's offered to come back out to the public, so you guys can ask him the same questions and the same thing, so we're working on a time frame to do that, so you guys can ask the same questions at the end. It's, yes, I don't know.
It's the same thing as, you know, we talked about today. When you're in a court case, one side's gonna have their experts and the other side's gonna have their experts.
The town is not hiring hundreds of thousands of dollars to have an independent study, right? That's not that.
How about we pick one of the developer pays? Okay.
You already did. Okay.
Pick another one that we chose.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Mayor,
Yes, make all your comments, huh? I mean, make all your comments that you have, and then,
Well, I think Council Longo asked the question that council should consider, and we should do with it on.
you call the question to stop, you call the question to stop the debate.
Nope, we can't do that before discussion ends.
Everyone's entitled to speak on this council one time. We're not moving forward to a solution. It's moved to
So you-
vote. Pam has not spoke. Greg has not spoken.
I was just worried about our third party impact.
And then what?
So we know how it's going to affect the social aspect of it. We've heard estimates or opinions of financial data. Roadways,
People love it, the day they're doing this meeting, and you're gonna do that again on February 11th. But this particular item is not to discuss the particular development, it is.
I understand, but we
Public
know the
session.
intent of the developer, so.
But you're gonna hear,
And to ask it earlier.
you're gonna hear that February 11th, and then we'll have more discussion on February 19th. This item is only to schedule a public hearing for the benefit of the. Okay, so we have.
Only thing I'll say is that there was a comment, I think it's coming from us, that says if we take this next step, it's showing our intent that we want to annex. And that's not true in my case. If any one of you came up and asked for a plot of land to be annexed, we're gonna go down a step. And this is the step, the next one. And my belief is not saying we're gonna get it, it's we're going down the process. We need to do that for anybody that wants to ask us to annex property. And we will always do that with anybody that asks us to annex property. We need to walk this step.
Okay, we have a recommendation, we have first. As in the Sienna, did you say? Okay. Okay, first was, Representative, Hall, and then second by Marciano, we had our discussion. So it's time to vote, how do you vote?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so,
Mayor, I want to apologize, I went wrong. Actually, the point is, so I thought we, the time was then, I thought we'd already been to them. I apologize.
okay, we're going to, you have anything, and I'm. Okay, we're going to 9B, possible appointment of Crystal Gautier to B City Committee USA, for the terms of 2 years. Town manager, do you want to have any comments on it?
Mayor, I'll just add that, background check has been completed on the applicant and did not indicate any issues with serving on that committee.
Okay, thank you. So the recommendation is to appoint Crystal Gautier to B City Committee for a period of 2 years. May I have a motion to accept the recommendation? Motion by President Hall.
Second.
Second by Councilman Patty. Okay, any discussions? How do you vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's approved. And so, she's not here, is she, Crystal? Not here. Okay, going to item 9C. Possible approval of memorandum of understanding between the town of Holly Ridge and town of Topsail Beach for the purpose of conducting inspection. Town manager?
Thank you, Mayor. This memorandum of understanding establishes an agreement between the towns of Holly Ridge and Topsail Beach. Basically to provide temporary substitute building and or fire inspections. It can go either way, so town of Topsail Beach can use Holly Ridge inspectors, Holly Ridge can use Topsail Beach inspectors if there were ever a need. Either party is able to terminate this agreement at any time with written notice. And if these inspections would be done without compensation as authorized by the respective mayors. So the mayors would be the individuals signing this agreement.
Okay, so any, like a recommendation for action, I'm hoping that the council can approve this, but may I have a motion to accept the recommendation to approve this relationship?
I make a motion, we've done this in the past. So I make a motion, that we approve the MOU.
Second by Councilman Messiano. Any more discussion? How do you vote? Let's,
Yes.
Yes. Okay, motion passed. Going to item 9D. This is the discussion of possible approval of officially forming a beautification committee to establish membership and authorize the town manager to advertise the creation of a committee and accept applications from the public. When I have any contact, and I can
Yes, sir.
Ms. Scudder.
Ms. Sweeney and Councilman Patty, were the ones that put together the proposal, so if either would like to speak on this.
So Ms. Sweeney came to me with the idea of the beautification committee, which Surf City has, I do believe. As we progress, I think it'd be nice for our town to look nice. This meeting thought the same thing. There's lots of ideas being thrown on about planting trees, cleaning things up, just making it look like a town. So it was a great idea. I was happy to support her and try and spruce things up. And I hope it works out. And I hope many of you volunteer for this, because there's a lot of ideas out there, and we need all the help that we can get. So I appreciate this very well for me, and I'm happy to.
Great, thank you, and thank you, Ms. Rooney. So I guess the recommendation is to, get approval of the council to form the committee, and may I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Patty. Second by Mayor Pro Tem Hall. Any more discussions? How do you vote? I'm sorry?
Is there a monetary asset at all, or no? Nothing, just a committee, no monetary.
Nothing yet, there will be something, but also for charity and donation, raising money out there.
We probably will have
There
more,
would be some kind of budget, so sure.
yeah, we probably will have more on this later.
Yes, this is just the formation of the committee.
And I'm hoping that Ms. Rooney will chair this. Okay. All right, so we have a first and second, and any more discussion? Discussion on that side?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Welcome back, Mr. Nish. Okay, last item 9E, discussion of possible approval of the organization of the four-town meeting, creating sound to see partnership. There are a number of initiatives, for me to add some context before I hand it to Heather. There are a number of initiatives that are going on with us, myself working with other mayors. Not only the four towns, but broader than that. But you'll hear more about this later, but this is the first step of many in terms of creating sort of a dynamic community among the towns. So, Heather?
Thank you, Mayor. So in the past, the four towns have held what was called four town meetings, where all of the electeds and typically the town managers from each town would gather once a quarter for lunch and roundtable discussion. It was decided late last year that, some of the elected officials did not feel as though they were, productive meetings. So the four managers, we met, and discussed how we could revamp the four town meeting. And what we have before you is creating the Sound to See partnership, which would consist of all four managers and then one elected would be appointed. So tonight, the action needed is to decide if this partnership is something that the mayor and town council would like to pursue. And then if so, recommend any changes to the framework and outline that was included in the packet. And then authorize the town manager to work with the other towns to create the official bylaws and identify a member from the town's board for any initial informal collaboration that takes place prior to the adoption of the actual bylaws.
Question for you, does any of the managers are going to bring forward the nomination from the council as an elected official? Should we ask this council who would like to serve on it?
Yes, sir.
Manager, is this in addition to the things we found after meeting? I mean, you guys would get together, or you did one, you needed a council person in those meetings?
So this is a little bit different. The four town managers, we meet each month. And just, we kind of have a roundtable discussion, different things that are going on. This will be more about, strategic initiatives for the four towns.
And your expectation is if you have a council person and the town manager there, there'll be a report back at the end of each one of those meetings?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. It would go in the agenda packet each month, like the other committees. Unless the council wanted some different format.
And there's no actions taken in it, it's just, information gathering or sharing.
Yes, ma'am. And I believe I believe when, we met Kyle with Surf City, he kind of led this, organization and helped us get our thoughts onto paper and to make some resemblance of sense. And he said that once the committee members were identified, then we would have that initial meeting to decide how frequent we thought the meetings needed to be, and then we could adjust accordingly, depending on what's going on.
I can remark that, and when I first got on the council several years ago, when we went to the quarterly meetings, those meetings that had speakers, we had insurance commissioner there, gave us a lot of opportunity to talk to people that we didn't get to run in and talk to. We had a lot of information that was worthy of the 2 hours we were all there. As it went along, and then of course then COVID, there was no speakers, and there was not a lot of attendance, and then it just dwindled, just like any other living organization doesn't keep going when people just don't show up. But there was a time that the speakers were really important here.
Okay, so is anybody on this council interested in being the elected representative in this group? You make it? All right, so the recommendation is action to authorize the town manager to work with the other towns to create set of bylaws to present to February for adoption. This action, of course, includes identifying Councilor Massiano to serve as the town representative for any initial informal collaboration effort. So may I have the motion to accept the recommendation? Motion by Mr. Tim Hall. Second. Second by Councilman Hines. Any more discussion? How do you vote? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Okay. All right. Thank you. That is all that we have on our agenda. Now we're gonna go to the person wishing to address the council. The same rules as before apply. So, Town Manager, could you read the first name?
Yes, sir. Miss Carolyn Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council people. My name is Charlotte Sweeney, I live at 391 Summer House Drive, St. Paul's Ridge. I want to thank you for the approval of the beautification committee. And I'm hoping that this is not going to be something that's overlooked. Because if you come into Holly Ridge, you'll see that both of the signs that are saying Holly Ridge are literally falling apart. And what I hope to accomplish and forming a committee would be to make those two signs look like the sign out here in front of the communities. And I hope that the council will approve at least some sort of monetary budget for this committee. And I hope that we'll get some support from the community. Also, I'd just like to make a quick notification that everything that Councilman Caddy and Karen said, commented on, does not fall on deaf ears. We have been accused of not wanting change. We do want change, but we want smart change. I think that we need to have smart growth. Impact studies need to be made. I think contingencies need to be done. And I think forced permits need to be considered as well. I don't think that we have to force any of these developers to build a school or build a road, but I make a suggestion. How would, if you want to build a house, how about building a school? We're not asking them for monetary money, we're giving them monetary money. It would be on a volunteer basis. The roads are still not out far. And I just want to say, we, the citizens of Holly Ridge, want only the best. And I really, really want a lot of consideration done to this housing thing that we guys need. And to make something very personal to me. We've been accused of not wanting change. The mayor has endorsed
a person to represent this community that has served 4 terms and has yet to do anything that I see for Holly Ridge. Joshua Caddy has been most vigilant in changing, doing things for the good. And you, as a neighbor of his, have chose not to endorse him. And that's just my personal, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sandy. Just a reminder, please don't direct your comments at any person on the council. Okay, next,
It was just a personal.
thank you. Thank you, Ms. Sandy.
Ms. Karen Carranza.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I appreciate the opportunity to briefly clarify the record. I want to respectfully address some confusion regarding my earlier statement of intent. My statement of intent was not an indication that the project was ready to proceed. It was a request that unresolved environmental gaps be acknowledged and addressed before the town signals intent to annex or proceed. What I've heard referenced tonight is an environmental discussion with the developer that took place last fall here. And that's not the same as actually viewing the environmental analysis that I've been able to see myself. I'm curious, have you all looked at the site zone boundary for the investigation site? Have you looked at the perimeter and how wide it goes beyond the actual development site zone? Because it includes land beyond those boundaries. And it includes land that has prior contamination zone sites that have been omitted from CG's third-party environmental investment assessment that they did October 2024. Excuse me. The town does have access to that document. It's approximately a 90-page document. The concern I raised, and I'm raising again, is that CG, the assessment did not include or analyze certain known potential contaminated sources. If the sites are omitted from the scope of the review, then conclusions about distance or safety cannot be relied upon because the underlying assessment was incomplete. To be clear, I'm not asserting that contamination has been proven. I am stating that it has not been adequately evaluated. That distinction matters before the town expresses intent to annex and assume responsibility. I respectfully ask that these omissions be formally acknowledged and addressed prior to the February 19th public hearing so that process is informed rather than procedural. And as well as the omitted sites, the legacy Renrow site that is located at 314 West Ocean Road. And it is a no further action site. It has been retired, but it was retired prior to EPA having any guidelines for cleanup. So 1979, they were removed, nothing was ever evaluated or investigated. So those 3 sites are all within our development investigative boundary zone. Thank you for the opportunity to clarify.
Thank you, Mr. Amen.
Miss Melissa Seven.
I just have a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to say good evening to people of Holly Ridge and to the council. I just have a couple of things I'd like to clarify or make a statement tonight. I don't think anybody's against growth, but as Mr. Patrick said, it's smart growth. But what concerns me right now, and I do have a background in this, I have a degree in biology and a master's in genetics. I'm from Western New York, and you might have heard of the Love Canal. Okay, because that's a big thing. What I think is upsetting is that the council is not willing to check the land. And when you go in and you move anything, and you're not willing to check this land for water and contamination, that's wrong. You owe the people of Holly Ridge, all of us, okay, where you're gonna do your duty and do, or maybe on Watson pay for it. And you may have to do a specific investigation of that soil and water. We don't want something 10, 20 years from now to happen like it did in the Loveton. So you owe it to the citizens of Holly Ridge to do your job and to make sure it's done right. Okay, and if that means paying for it, then you pay for it. Because right now, we're already looking at trying to fix the mess with the mold. We certainly don't need another lawsuit 10, 15 years from now. So do your duty, please, and hire someone, and it shouldn't be the developer or Anwanta, it should be private, and it should be coming from Holly Ridge. And do samples, water samples, and soil samples before we go in there and start doing anything. Okay, you owe it to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you for all who spoke. We're going to item 11, and that is, on council comments, so start with,
Well, thank everybody for coming and your participation tonight.
Patty?
I have a little paragraph. So before we go tonight, I just wanted to say this. My responsibility on this council is not to go along to get along. I hope you see that. It's not to avoid uncomfortable conversations. It's to ask tough questions. I've been pretty consistent with that. And it's also to slow things down when they need slowing down. And to make sure every decision we make can be clearly explained to the people you paying the bill. That means standing up for what's right and protecting taxpayers by demanding transparency, accountability, and common sense in how we spend public dollars. This is where this annexation concern is coming from. People expect us to be careful with their money and honest in our decision making. And they take that responsibility seriously every time we sit in this seat. So that's where I'm coming from when I do ask these questions. I'm asking them for you. And if you don't like the questions, I apologize. But I'm going to keep asking because I think you're owed answers. Because you get the entire scope of what we were doing. I appreciate you all coming out. Don't stop being active. Keep coming to the meeting. Volunteer for the beautification committee. And if you have any questions or concerns, I am always available. Please contact me. Have a blessed night.
Councilor Marciano?
I like the term get along to get along. So I'm like, go along to get along. And in reality, I feel like we're just featured from on the annexation piece. We live in Summer House. I think it's hypocritical to fight it. But reality is this town has grown. We got housing growth and adequately done. We're short 12,000 homes. Onslow County needs to grow, and they're looking for home places and home sites to do that. Whether they annex or don't annex, it's just reality is we need homes or we can get it. So I appreciate everybody's opinion of this is a terrible idea. And that's the beauty of democracy. And Josh, the news here, and it's nice. I love the speech. I love the tone. I love the inflection. It's great. But reality is people need homes, and we got to build roofs. And we don't need summer house neighborhoods. We need houses for people to be able to live. So I'm looking forward to the future.
Thanks for calling out Summer House again.
I love summer.
Order, please. Order, please.
You're welcome.
Order. Order, please. Please.
I'm good.
Okay, and again, I would like to thank everybody for being here. We have a lot going on in 2026. We encourage your involvement in committees and your involvement here during the meeting. We ask you to participate in any way you can in committees, in discussions, individually with the council members or during the mayor's office time. As Councilman Marciano said, this is a democratic process. You hear your voice, you have heard your vote. And we went through, pretty unpleasant election, but we are now ready to go forward. All of us in our own way want the best for Holly Ridge. Everybody on this council, whether we agree or not, we want the best for Holly Ridge and where we're going. God bless you and your family, and God bless our town, our county, our state, and our country. So, going to item 12, town attorney, comments?
Just wanted to say, as always, it's a pleasure to serve this body, and I'm glad to have three members of our board at their first full council meeting.
Thank you. Order, please. Okay, going to item 13, announcements. Would you please? Monday, January 19, 2026, administrative office closed due to Martin Luther King Day. Tuesday, January 20th, planning board meeting beginning at 6 p.m. Council chambers. Thursday, January 22nd, town council work session. It's a public work session, but we have an agenda to talk about matters that are going in our town. Tuesday, February 10th, town council regular meeting at 6:30 at the community center. Wednesday, February 11th, we're gonna have a community discussion and information meeting and Q&A with the developer of a proposed annexation. This meeting will take place at the community center here at 6 p.m. Tuesday, February 17th, planning board meeting beginning at 6 p.m. Thursday, February 19th, town council will hold a special meeting to receive public comments. This will take place here at 6 p.m. Tuesday, March 10th, town council regular meeting at 6:30, and Friday, April 3rd, and Monday, April 6th, town administrative service closed for Easter holiday. Okay, item 14, kind of timing before we go to closed session, could you make comments before we vote on closed session?
In terms of informing the council as to what the motion is.
Right, from the item in closed session before I call for the closed session.
Yes, sir. The motion will be pursuant to North Carolina General Statute, sections 143-318.11, subsections A, 3, 4, and 5, to consult with attorneys retained by the public body to discuss matters regarding the location or expansion of industries, and to instruct staff regarding the negotiation position of the town for strategic acquisitions.
Okay, we're gonna go into a closed session, and we'll come back after the closed session back here. You're welcome to stay if you come back or leave. There are no more agenda items that we're going to cover. So may I have a motion to the closed session? Motion by Councilman Hine. Second by Representative Hall. Yes. Okay, we are going to close session and we'll be back. Right, we're back. We have a motion to adjourn the regular session. Motion by. Councilman Ryan. Discussion, vote.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we are back on regular session. We had a closed meeting and no action was taken. So we are ready to get to item 15, adjournment. We have the motion to adjourn. Motion by Councilman Hines, second by Lonzo. And any discussions? How do you vote?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all.